broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey AfterBuzzers, and welcome to another Blood and Oil After Show. Tonight we're talking Season 1, Episode 9, Art of the Deal. But before we dive into all of the juicy drama, make sure you guys are subscribed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, and also on iTunes and SoundCloud. I'm Lauren Salaun, and you can find me everywhere online at Lauren Salaun, and I am joined tonight by Howard and April. How you guys doing?
Yay! Good. Happy to be back.
Yeah,
we missed you.
I missed y'all.
Anyway, guys, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Howard III. That's Howard 3RD.
Y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant. I don't have the live chat up tonight because my computer went dead, but tweet us. I have my Twitter up.
I've got the live chat up, so you guys can chat with us, and we'll see it right here.
Yeah.
Talk about your comments and everything, as long as they're good.
Make them
Even
good.
if they're not good, we'll still talk about it. So, we've talked about this before, that because they've tightened up the episode count, we started with 13 episodes, and now we've got only 10, so this was the second to last of the season. Mm-hmm. Things are super juicy. So how did you guys feel about this episode?
Some stuff is happening a little easier than it probably should have.
Right.
But I get why that's happening at the same time. But I'm liking all the information that we're getting, but it doesn't seem like... I thought that the premise of the show was going to be take Hap down, make him get a taste of his own medicine. I don't think it's going to be that way.
I don't know how that all comes together in one episode. I mean, it could with some big banging there you go, big master plan, because we do have Annie and her squad versus Hap and his squad now going head to head. So there could be some showdown sort of thing.
It's a bit much now. I know how they're trying to speed it up, but now it's like, oh, we have to get to this, we have to get to that. Now it's so many stories in one episode, like Annie and the squads, and then now Cody and her marriage, and Carla and the FBI. It's just so much.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like too, introducing new characters, the doctor, now I'm like, okay, I get what you're doing here, throwing a little distraction into the mix, but we only are going to have 2 episodes with this guy, exactly. if that. I'm assuming he'll be in the episode next week, but yeah.
It's definitely a cliffhanger to keep the audience interested for a season 2, which we definitely hope there's a season 2. But it's one of those things because ABC is notorious for not letting us know if they renew their shows until the very end. So it's one of those things to keep audiences interested in the sense of, will they, won't they, what's going to happen? But I think that it's going to be all about Carla. Bringing her in.
Do you think so?
But she's the one who's been the kind of, Hap is made out to be the evildoer, but he's all about the business, and he is a businessman, obviously. And she's the one who's kind of been doing the dirty deeds behind the scenes. Well, obviously he's been doing some dirty deeds behind the scenes as well, but not the kind that she's been doing.
Right. Yeah. So let's actually jump into that. So it opens with Carla in jail. So we saw at the end of last week's episode, she gets arrested because she didn't listen to her own advice of being extra careful because the feds are watching. I'm like, girl, you just told Hap to be extra careful, and now you just spilled all the beans.
Just right there,
right there. Gave them exactly what they need. And so Hap goes to visit her, says the feds have this recording, and when she ends up getting released, because Annie goes to visit her, and Annie has a whole lot of power that I think we would expect from her, given she's, former Mrs. Hap and has still had a very successful career in life since then and is a very powerful person. But, I wouldn't have thought that she had that much control over being able to just shut hide that recording and
Exactly.
cut that deal and get Carla out that quickly.
Well, I definitely didn't think so either. And I'm like, how is she offering up all of this immunity, if you would? But now we know it's because, oh, wait, she's the one who has the feds in her back pocket. And she's the one who even said, like, this is what you should do. If you want this, then you give me this. She hired them because she wants that report. So everybody is doing some dirty doing.
Okay, I knew Annie would have something up her sleeve. I mean, you could already see that she is basically the one who taught Hap everything. Like, Hap knows oil, but Annie knows business. So I was like,
I love Annie. I love Annie. And so still going on with the feds, you know, Wick gets called into the feds too, and they're kind of like, all right, well, thanks, man. Business is done here. And he's kind of a little pissed off because he's like, no, you were supposed to get my dad, you know? And they're like, they're like, no, we just need to like get somebody in this situation. But that ends up tying in a lot more with, well, we'll get to it later, but still on the lines of Hap and the wiretap and Carla being in jail, you know, Hap and AJ are talking about this because they're still trying to figure out how this all happened anyway. And, you know, Hap, like, uses the detector on himself, like, kind of being cute in a sense. He's like, well, Carla and I weren't checked, but you know, she obviously didn't do it. Whoops. And checks himself and it goes off, which he's a little surprised by, and pulls out the phone and is like, clearly, oh, they cloned my phone.
It was one of those moments that I'm talking about. It's a little easy, like, God, dude, let me check me.
Obviously, that would be my first guess too, you know?
Because who would actually think to do
exactly
that?
And he quickly pieces it together for, you know, ties it back to that time with Jules and kind of puts it all together real quick like that, which again, going to what you were saying, is a little convenient for it. But
well, in this, I agree with that in the sense of, yes, it is easy, but I also know exactly where my phone has been and who has had it and what times I've left it alone and who has access to it. So that is semi-believable, but it just, you know, it happened a little fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Hap's just getting really sloppy.
I know.
He is. But he gets sloppy for Jules.
That's true.
Because they love each other.
He's got a crush on her.
He don't love her too much if he had all those other women too.
That's true.
Seriously, that guy.
Are y'all okay? So obviously I wasn't here last week, so I was still at home. But I just want to ask really quick: are y'all surprised that Jules so easily believed Wick saying that, oh, you're not the only woman. He did this and this and this with this chick, and he's got this person there. I'm like, wait, why are you so pissed at him all of a sudden just because Wick said this?
Well, didn't she see him with somebody?
The blonde-haired girl?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he did.
Was that Jules that saw?
But not like
her?
With
like
someone.
at the bar.
Yeah. I do.
So, you know, you can easily read into that one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I guess when you're the other woman, it would be easy to jump to that conclusion because you're like, well, obviously he's doing it with me, so why wouldn't he be having other affairs with other people? Why would why am I the different one? You know,
I guess it just seemed very intense, like in the sense of, oh wait, now she's willing to give the feds information about him because she thinks that this might be happening.
Yeah,
so
and
I was like,
I mean, all of that I think is her acting so like off emotion. You know, she's like pissed about the Wick situation and hurt him, and then so he could just be lashing out and trying to hurt her by saying that, which he very well may be. And so then she's like being very reactionary as well.
I feel her.
So,
I would be the same way.
I would have like gone crazy on him, or done like tried to take him down. Exactly. So AJ gets. You know, AJ is involved in the whole wiretap thing too, and Hap ends up telling Lacey that Wick was the mole. She obviously does not believe him initially, and Hap's finally like, no, Wick definitely was the guy, and he was the one at the rig fire because Sheriff Tip finds, you know, he's looking into it, and he's like, well, his record is sealed, but he wanted immunity, so what would he have wanted immunity for?
Exactly.
That I felt like was jumping to conclusions on all fronts pretty quickly, because who knows what he did, but the clear connection is the rig fire. And then with Lacey and AJ looking into it more, you know, Lacey's always been so Wick's her big brother, and she's like very quick to defend him and believe him no matter what. So she's like, I'm going to look into it and prove you wrong, sort of thing, Dad.
Yeah.
And then psych the watch,
Not
holding
so
the
much.
gun, holding my grandfather's watch.
It's just...
I almost thought we were going to see like evidence of AJ having doctored it, because when we find that he was there, you know, he was there too, tailing Hap. I was like, oh shoot, did he cover it up? He like photoshopped the watch onto the pictures, and he's gonna show those to Lacey.
Did we know that?
That
Did we
he
know
was-
that AJ
that he
was
was
there?
there?
I don't
think
I don't
because
think
I
we
couldn't
did.
remember a scene where we saw him following Hap.
Yeah, I don't think we knew he was there,
Right.
or
okay.
that there was an extra car unaccounted for.
Or, yeah,
that was
so
kind
that
of
was a lot of
too.
news to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I kind of thought that he tampered with the photos also, because he slipped up and said, "Oh, it was nothing in the photos that I had." And Lacey, you saw Lacey's face was like, "What? Like you took photos too?"
Yeah, why
like,
were you taking photos?
why are you
there?
even? Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't those be in evidence?
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw Lacey with all these photos. I was like, first and foremost, how did she get these photos?
It's not that easy.
And that's what I was saying. And then I'm like, well, the cop there, the local sheriff, is just crooked, which I don't understand. How can he be like a good cop and a bad cop at the same time? But whatever. So I was like, wow, Lacey, you got good photos. AJ has photos. Like everybody has photos.
Yeah.
Which AJ, I mean, we know why AJ would have been tailing him at that time, because he's trying to figure out the information for the people who were trying to kill his son and everything. But I'm like, whoa, where did this curveball come from? It was surprising to me, but I thought it was an interesting curveball. And it actually, but it's one of those things that it's like, okay, Hap, you drew this conclusion because this and the sheriff said this, but then you haven't even seen this photo that could say something else, which we know, obviously, that it was Wick. We saw that it was Wick, but there's other information to suggest otherwise. So why are you know, kind of going ham against your son just because good old sheriff?
Right.
Which the sheriff bothers me, just like you said. He plays good cop, bad cop, but I mean, he's good cop to Hap in the sense that like he's telling him the information because he's a friend, but like I'm just like, you creep me out, sheriff, because he's
I'm
like,
glad.
what did he tell you?
Yeah, you never
I'm like,
really know like what he's thinking or what angle he's trying to work, or if he's going to be shady or not.
Yeah.
Just something
Never
about
totally
him.
sure. But you, April, reminded me of something. So with the whole AJ and his son thing, and now he's like a double agent, like working for Hap, but also supposedly still working for these people. That got totally dropped. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think we've seen with other storylines. Like even with the Kes and Ada thing, we felt like that was going weird, and then it was just like, well, we're leaving and going back to Africa tonight, sort of thing. So I feel like they've done that, like thrown a lot of little direction, like little tangents out there, and haven't really tied them up at all. You know, so I doubt we'll see more of the AJ situation.
I don't think so either, which we saw it kind of, not last episode, but the episode before, in the sense of, well, you tell them this, but we're actually doing this about the report. And I don't know. I think that storyline is probably done.
But they probably, because we saw that the woman, you know, whoever that person was that he had to report to a couple times, so it made it feel like that was going to go somewhere a little bigger. But I don't know if like the ratings on those episodes or what sort of feedback, but they're like, nah, we don't need to keep going.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, we're good.
It seems like they dropped a lot this whole like little season. Like, what about AJ? And are we actually going to see the son? Are we going to see the wife, the ex-wife? Are we going to get maybe a glimpse of
Probably
the background?
not. I don't think we'll see any more. I think like he and Lacey may like kiss again, but that's about it.
He's basically done.
And he's now, I think, like on the Briggs side for all intents and purposes. So we'll see. So let's talk a little bit about Jules in the hospital and stuff. So at the end of last week's episode, Cody finds her OD'd, or so we're led to believe, and Cody finds her. They're in the hospital. She calls Wick to come down like immediately, and Wick calls Hap to come, or who called Hap? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Hap knows all. So
Hap is there.
he shows up, which is like super awkward. Like both Hap and Wick being there. Jules wakes up and stuff, and she's like, "Oh great, this couldn't be weirder."
Right? Awesome right now.
I'm sorry, but in that situation, I don't think that. Why would Cody call Wick anyway?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because she knew that Jules really did love Wick deep down. I don't know, from what
Like,
Jules said last episode. But
Yeah. But yeah, I get that. But if my friend like almost committed suicide like over a guy situation, I wouldn't call one of those guys to the hospital
I
to
don't think
visit
so.
her.
Maybe she thought it was going to
I
happen
don't know.
a different
it's
way.
It's for the TV show
Right.
drama
Yes.
purposes.
But I am glad. It was another fast moment, of course. But actually, I'm kind of glad that they just put it out on the table. Jules, you know what? I'm the one who planted the phone. He's the one
loved
who's
it.
the mole.
I loved how
and
she-
that's what's up.
I love how she took control of that situation. She's like,
Yeah.
I didn't try and kill myself, you guys, which I don't know if I totally believe
I don't
her.
believe that.
No, I
Like,
think
you
she
don't take a
definitely did.
handful of pills when you're wasted
Exactly.
just to, like, get the edge off.
Yeah.
Especially
you know?
if you know you're a lightweight. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
But, like, she's so, like, to the point with that. Like, it wasn't about any of you. Don't go,
Yeah.
like, puffing up your egos over this
Yeah.
situation. Like, obviously, you know I'm sleeping with your dad, and I bugged you, and, like, all this. And she's
I
like,
did this and this.
and she's like, no, get out of my room. I love that moment with
Me
her,
too.
even though it's, like, kind of, like, crappy
Yeah.
situation. But I thought it was a cool, you know.
I'm glad that she handled it the way she did because it didn't make her seem like, oh, the poor little lost woman who did this and did this and
Right.
did this. She's like, screw you, I got this, and don't mess with me.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So Felicia in the chat brings up a good point that Cody was up to her usual idiotic shenanigans again tonight.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
Felicia.
Which transitions us into talking a little bit about Cody. And
Oh, Cody.
I am right there with you, Felicia, because Cody has been driving me crazy for a while.
Oh,
like
me
her
too.
and Billy together drive me a bit crazy, but she does more.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely takes it to a whole other level that it really doesn't even need to be at. She
No.
just
Yeah, so Cody and Billy are like on the rocks right now because rightfully so. Like, I think there's a lot of justification to them being mad at him because
yeah.
he has lied to her several times and he is so impulsive and just like makes decisions and then tells her after the fact or doesn't tell her. That's not okay when you're
Right.
married or in a
Sure.
relationship with somebody. But I do think she's like, I need some time by myself to
Right.
deal with this.
Yeah.
No, you don't. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
If you went on a business trip and didn't tell you about it, like,
Well, and she was saying that because of she didn't know if, you know, Gary was telling the truth, which I was telling y'all before the episode. I thought that was the worst moment ever
Oh,
when Gary wakes up and is like,
I
No,
know.
totally.
You wouldn't
not good. But I mean, she just seems to take everything from here to here. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
obviously, that is a huge deal. He did lie to you about where he was going to be all day. He did, you know, or you think he is lying to you about hurting Gary. But I'm also like, he hurt the man that hurt you and
Yeah.
killed your
Yeah.
baby. Is it, I mean, I get thinking like,
It
oh my
just
God,
seems
he left a man
it's,
for
like,
dead.
misplaced.
Do I know you? But it's like, you're just being a little more intense than it necessarily
yeah, because
called
it's
for.
not, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be something like, our whole marriage is in question.
Right. She's
Over
just like on the
this.
verge of tears at every second.
I
and-
mean, to give the girl some credit, like, getting like nearly beaten to death and losing a baby, like, that's not easy, so maybe we should cut her some slack.
yeah. Actually, she's pretty right on track.
But
All right.
but I think it's being misplaced and putting it all on Billy isn't
yeah.
Which is normal,
the best
though.
situation. Right.
Right.
So maybe we do need to remember
Yeah.
that
We're
a
like,
little bit. But so at the hospital when Cody is there, she runs into a doctor. So she's in her like pharmacist white coat.
Right.
So, and I thought that was a good way of creating that moment and that kind of like flirtatious.
It was cute.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because Dr. Alex White, we learn, comes out. He's like, "Oh, on your phone, like doing all this stuff. Well, my patient in room blah 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 needs her pills or something.
Right.
You know, what are you doing?" And
Yeah.
Cody's just like, keep going. You're making a fool of yourself." I liked that little moment, and I felt like
Yeah.
that obviously was super convenient, like and easy to script in that way. But I did feel like it was more. it was cuter. Like, it was more believable and wasn't one of those like, oh, so convenient to just write that in.
Definitely. It was probably actually one of my favorite moments of the episode, just because it seemed like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Like, something else is happening, or for her anyway, like something else is happening for her. It's not just all focused on woe is me, which she of course has every right to be that way right now. But I liked it in the sense of like, okay, we're making the show, it's a little lighter, it's a little, which, I mean, the show is light at times, sure, but I don't know, I just liked it, I guess.
Yeah, it pulled it out of her just being pissed about whatever Billy's doing.
Right.
You know, it gave, and then only having Jules as
a friend.
Anything else that Cody's doing. It's either annoyed with Billy or hanging out with Jules.
Right.
So it gave us a little bit more for Cody to do, which I think we need, because it does. I think when she's just like in those two zones, it makes us more easily able to be frustrated with her.
Yes.
Did anybody else think that the doctor kind of knew she wasn't a nurse and he was just like trying to spit game? Or was that just me?
For a second I did, and then I was like, no, he's being a little rude if he actually thinks she's not.
Yeah, I'm like, he's throwing a lot of sass at this girl.
I thought it was a bad pickup, really. I thought he knew she wasn't a nurse, and like he was just trying to spit game, really.
He would like joke it off more.
Yeah.
You know, like it would have been cuter.
If he knew, then I mean, it was a good pickup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Go Dr. White, I guess.
I know. He was very stern.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I was a doctor, and you know,
doctors are on their phone more than anybody on their phone. So.
I just thought he was aggressive. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Get that patient her meds. But yeah, so we see a little tension there, though. So you know, like with the way this show's been going, you're like, oh, something is coming between them.
I already think they have better chemistry than she and Billy do.
Yeah.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, that's nothing bad against them as actors, of course, but I just think that, I don't know, I just felt it. It's the first time this season that I've actually felt some, like, I mean, Jules and Hap are giving it to us straight, but I've never felt it between her and Billy, and I felt it tonight. Who knows?
Sparks are flying! And so, Cody and Jules, so Billy ends up going to the pharmacy where Cody works to be like, okay, we need to work on this. Like, come home. Like, let's figure this out. And she's like, I still need time, you know, which I think is so dramatic.
Yeah.
But so she and Jules go and have a girls' night at the bar, which is literally the only bar in town because that's where everyone goes. Right?
Jules' bar.
Yeah, Jules' bar, where Jewel lives also.
Yeah.
So it's like the one place. It's like they go to Hap's house, the oil yard, and then this bar. Like, that's like only
small town USA. We used to hang out in the Walgreens parking lot in high school.
Yeah, right? So. Yeah, in and out parking lot. There we go for us. So, of course, they run into the doctor and flirt some more, and Billy shows up and there as well, asking for another chance, and he's like, no, I'm trying to talk to my wife. And Alex is asking, oh, is this man bothering you? And you would think once Billy says, like, oh, no, I'm just trying to talk to my wife, like, Dr. Mann would have, like, backed off a little. He seemed to be a little too, like, step into the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
He did seem shocked. Or he looked a little, like, surprised, like, oh, this is your husband? Huh?
Yeah.
But, I mean, he already loves her, clearly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they end up having a little, like, you know, heart to heart, and she confides in him about her relationship issues, which is another thing, like, you just met this guy today. She's like, well, clearly my marriage is having problems, obviously. I'm like, you don't tell some random guy that.
Well, sometimes it's easier to say it to a stranger than
true.
a friend. So maybe.
No.
But, you know.
But yeah, zip that up, girl.
I was kind of just like, you don't even know this man. You can clearly see that this guy has feelings for you, so he's going to use what you're telling him against the husband, so he can slither all in there.
I did really appreciate him for when they're outside and it's just the two of them, for saying, like, don't give up on Billy and don't give up on your marriage. Yeah. And then there was, like, the longest pause in the world, and they're staring at each other. I was like, no, he's gonna kiss her. He's gonna kiss her. And then I was like, no, kiss her, do it, drama.
We want this.
Yeah.
He didn't end up kissing her, but I think they both realized that that was potentially about to happen right then and there. And Cody's like, shoot, let's go back inside, okay? Cut this tension.
Because he said the correct things. Like, it even made my heart little melt. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's melting over here. So
exactly. Like, he's like, no, focus on your marriage. And then you're like, okay. Right?
But I love how all season we've been thinking that it was going to be Billy and Emma. Yes.
Yeah.
And oh, look, Cody got her own agenda.
Well, but it was.
Well, yes.
Yeah, which let's talk about that. I mean, when we saw with Annie and her team at where was it her house? I mean, it's not her house because she doesn't live there. But anyway, they're having like a team meeting, you know, and Emma is there, of course, because she's like the other one geologist in town.
Yeah.
And so Emma goes to find Billy at the bar because they've been called to the meeting, and Billy's like wasted, and they end up kissing, of course. And this is after Emma was at Billy's house, and Cody comes home, and she's like,
who's
you
the
know,
hot
what's going,
geologist?
all this stuff. And Emma's like, there's nothing going on here, like all that business. And then she kisses him.
Ooh, trifling.
I know. I mean, I think we for sure saw it coming.
Yeah.
But of course, it's right when Cody walks back into the bar and she sees it.
Yeah.
I know.
It's just bad. Cody and Billy.
And also, like, I'm sorry, Emma girl, and like, this man is married. You're in a tiny, tiny, small town. Like, what are you doing?
And somebody's gonna see
at
you.
the bar?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not smart.
No.
Clearly.
Not smart. She hadn't been drinking. She was taking advantage of him.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh,
I know.
Yeah.
Emma,
dirty girl.
don't do it.
Can't believe it.
So let's dive into the like oil business side of things.
Yeah.
So it's like Team Annie and Team Hap going head to head. So we already learned that Annie is like in bed with the feds. She's got them in her back pocket.
Yeah.
Wick decides to go in with Annie. And then we just said we've got Emma, the geologist, and then Billy on that team as well. And then Hap's got Lacey and AJ on his side. Am I missing anybody on Team
Carla?
Hap? Carla,
Oh,
yeah. We'll see. So Annie met with the feds and saying that, you know, she wanted Hap to go down, and she wanted the report before it went into evidence, didn't want her son involved, and they kind of have like blown all that to crap.
Exactly.
So she wants a copy of the USGS report, which we find that she gets.
Right.
And I really liked how they kind of paralleled the scenes where the two teams are going through the report together.
Yeah.
Like, what does it all mean? Like, our parcels don't have oil, so like something's happening because Hap's been super jazzed about, you know, this McCutcheon, so something's got to be going on. And they figure out that it's all this oil is under the reservation. And they said like it would be the biggest like natural oil reserve ever.
The show makes me want to dig for oil.
Right?
Okay.
Doesn't it like become
Like,
a
can we get
prospector or
rich
like
real
go to a creek and like
Seriously.
look for gold or something?
I was like, I need to start investing.
I know.
Come on.
Let's move to Texas or something. Get into the oil business. So they both have the copies of the report. So now it's like figuring out where all this money is, and it's under the reservation.
Right.
And so now I guess I don't exactly know how it works with a reservation and being able to drill for oil, but they're like, oh, well, only one company would be allowed to like get the rights to access it.
Well, so I'm from Mobile, Alabama. We have a lot of Indian reservations around where I'm from, and they literally like are a different territory.
Right.
Like they make their
They're
own laws, they make
exactly.
their own rules, whatever. So like casinos aren't legal in Alabama, but if they're on a reservation and if they're on like
which
a
is-
certain distance, then they can be.
Exactly, which is the
kinda
case
crazy.
here in California too.
Okay.
So
Oh, I didn't
I'm
know
pretty
that.
sure all casinos are owned by
Reservations.
Native American
Oh,
reservations.
cool.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure
Now that I think about it, I think
that's
you're right.
the case too in
Yeah.
California.
But so they can basically do kind of what they want to do. So maybe it's as far as, they can decide this is exactly who gets this. But they were saying that they have to like siphon underground pretty much. Like I pictured it as them like, digging a tunnel into the reservation land and siphoning it into their land. Because I think the reservation just kind of gets to pick like, okay, we don't want our land ruined by all of this stuff.
Right.
So I think it's kind of up to them.
Yeah. But couldn't they, so I guess the reservation...
I think they just don't want to.
Okay, so they don't want to like handle it themselves. They'd obviously sell the rights, or they'd like, make a profit off of owning the land in some huge capacity. But it's, I guess, picking which one company. Like, does it have to be just one company? Like,
but I don't know. I don't necessarily know, but all I could think throughout the episode, or whenever they're meeting with, I forget her name right now. Elaine. White
Cloud.
All I could think was, Elaine, they are dropping some knowledge on you right now.
Yeah.
Get your own oil rig
That's what I was
drill on your own
exactly.
land.
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, why does she even need them?
Exactly.
I don't think she does, unless there's some sort of rule against, like, you can only have a casino.
Well, I know it's expensive, obviously, to start an oil rig, but clearly, if these people are, about to beg you basically to drill on your or under your land, then it's legitimate. So,
but you could still make a huge amount of money
exactly
just selling them the rights and having a partnership, like percentage based on what they find and what they sell.
But you can have more if you do it yourself.
Yeah, I thought she was going to be like, I'm not taking either one of your deals, and I'm going to take it myself.
Yeah, thanks for the info. Okay,
maybe she will.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess so. Yeah, they go into this meeting with her, of course, at the tap room at night. Like, okay,
because that's the only place to have it.
And I thought it was so unprofessional how they're calling in like their troops and stuff, like everyone from the team. So it's like all like a head to head showdown sort of thing. But they're like bickering in front of her, which just seemed so weird. I was like, you guys shut up. You all look so unprofessional and so slimy. Like, and she even said it while she was there. She's like, whoa, I feel like I'm sitting down with the Hatfields and the McCoys. Like, simmer down, you guys.
Which is probably going to make her be like, I don't want you drilling on my land, so I'm going to do it myself.
Right, exactly.
It's a bit much. Like, you would think both business parties would understand personal you leave at home. When you're at a business meeting, it's business. Like, let's not talk about what we're doing in our family. Let's just try to get this land and
family drama.
Go. Yeah.
Everything is so personal with them, though, obviously.
Well, I guess, like, if you're Hap and not used to competing with other people for the oil business. I mean, obviously there are other oil companies in town, but he's the biggest. So usually, like, when it's big stuff and you're moving big money or things like that, like, no question, he's the one to do it. So, yeah, I don't know. It just seems so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I think they'd like put on a better face if they're trying to win this huge amount of business. But
not them.
No.
So it would seem.
I know.
Not at all. And then we also, a little stunner, is Chief White Cloud. I keep wanting to say other things. Chief White Cloud. I'm like White Field, White anything.
I was thinking Whitehead.
Whitehead, yeah. Yum. Elaine White Cloud, she calls in her son who helps with decision making. And of course, it's the doctor,
Obviously.
Alex White. Yeah. So with him having just seen what happened with Cody and Emma, do we feel like that's going to push him in the direction of the Hap team or what? Like, how does that come into play?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. It's one of those things that I'm like, wait, why did you just throw in this
this new thing?
Yeah, I feel like it's not gonna cloud his mind. I think he's still gonna go with the correct team a little bit. I think he's just gonna look at Billy with a wider eye. Like, I really got my eye on you, but I'm still gonna hear you both out.
Right. Well, and I think, I think are gunning for like Team Annie and Billy and stuff because they are kind of the underdogs and we've seen them get screwed so many times. So that's the people we want to see succeed, even though I think Billy's like made so many dumb decisions and that like he shouldn't have made.
All right.
But I think it's time to see like him get a win.
Yeah.
So we're gunning for them to win, but with the whole like kissing Emma thing, like, it makes me not like Emma really, because I don't feel like Billy, like, he went along with it after she kissed him, and he was really drunk, so whatever. But
He's almost seemed kind of into her. I just think the amount that he's been lying, I didn't think he would necessarily kiss her right now, but I don't know. Him and Cody are just on such a disconnect that I'm kind of like, why are you lying to her about all of this stuff?
Yeah.
She wouldn't have necessarily cared. Maybe, I get he didn't want to hurt her with all that they've been going through, but don't you know that it's just going to hurt her more, keeping all of those secrets? So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird when, like, I get when you lie about something that's huge because it's a big deal, you know, and so you're more scared that way. But when you're lying about little things, like, that's when it kind of almost ends up being weirder, when it's stuff that you would make no sense to lie about, you know. So we're seeing that pattern from Billy too, which raises questions for sure.
I just don't understand why he didn't like spill it all when they were already talking.
Yeah.
I just feel like it should have been easier if he was like, okay, I went to Houston and I went to Houston with Emma, instead of just, oh, I was out the state, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, just spill it all, Billy.
Yeah. Exactly. You got caught, come clean with all of it, because nothing at that point, nothing had happened, you know.
Right.
And so for Cody to find out, like, later and to kind of call him on it and stuff, you know.
Lying by omission is lying.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. It's
Silly Billy.
It is. So another big stunner this week, Jules being pregnant.
I mean, of course she's pregnant.
Yeah. Which... Shoot!
Been having
After
a
that
lot of
little
sex,
like pill and drink party, like, poor baby.
I know.
Just kidding.
Thought about that.
I'm like, how is she still pregnant?
I know. Well, you know, I don't. But we haven't seen her and Wick being intimate together.
We did.
That's
like,
what I was
once.
thinking.
We did once, and it's been implied that they still have been. But I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting it, because I'm like, there's so much going on. They're gonna throw that at us too, and then I'm like, oh, okay. There's another.
I know we've had 2 pregnancies this short season already.
Pregnancies, murders.
I feel like. Come on, like, I don't know. I feel like it had, like, of course she's pregnant. It's gonna be like, whose is it sort of situation.
I hope it's Hap's.
I know, but
Is it bad that I think that?
No, because I think the same thing.
Yeah, I kind of like her and Hap.
Me too.
Because I feel like he really loves her, and I feel like he was his real self with her. But maybe not, because Wick says he's with all these other ladies, so I don't know. Yeah. But I kind of hope it's Hap's.
Me too.
Well, and just for Jules' sake, it being Hap's, because she can easily, like, get all this child support money.
Exactly. It's like,
because she already
Jules,
works like 5 jobs. Yeah. She works like 5 jobs. She's gonna be a single mom. Yeah. Like, all this stuff. Like, just give her, like, a lot of money to take care of that baby.
Yeah. Here's a couple mil.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
But I was trying to figure out in that scene, like, who has the bigger pity party? Like, Cody is getting ready to go through a divorce, as she says, and Jules is over here pregnant. So it's like, now you just got 2 women crying all night.
I know.
Like,
I know. Exactly.
Who do you feel sorry for?
And I mean, gosh, Cody again.
I feel sorry for Jules, because Cody, I'm just like,
because Cody's
sorry,
just
girl.
so much drama. I feel like such a whiny baby all the time. But yeah, Cody walks in. She's like, "Oh, what I missed? The end of my marriage."
I know.
You know, I'm like, really? Like, yeah, I guess, like, seeing your husband kissing someone else. Yeah, that's a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
And that would be, you know, then you, Cody, you take the few days off and you go stay with someone else at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think they're gonna get a divorce.
I don't think so either. I think that would, they've been together for so long. They're just going through some troubling times. Mm-hmm. Clearly a lot of troubling times when he feels the need, or he doesn't feel the need to kiss another lady because she kissed him. But, I think they're just going through some hard times in Utah.
Yeah.
Growing pains. North Dakota.
Growing pains. They're, they're in transition. They're in a new place. They're stressed. They don't know how to deal with it.
What's
happening. Yeah, it's life.
I was just mind boggled. I don't know who to feel sorry for.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for them both.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I probably feel more sorry for Jules, I guess, because she's like that, like, tough cookie, like, doing it on her own. Like,
I feel sorry for her, but I'm
business
happy
lady.
for her too.
Yeah.
Because either way, obviously Wick is a descendant of Hap, so he got the cash too, but Hap just has more. But I think it's going to be Hap's. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's going to be Hap's too.
Yeah.
I think so. Gosh, I don't
Who
know.
knows?
Anyway, so I think we covered like all the big points. Do we want to do some cheers and jeers this evening?
Okay.
So I had a few cheers, which I feel like surprises me because usually I'm like more like grumpy about stuff. I have a couple. So I loved Jules giving it to the guys in the hospital room. Yeah. I loved that. I really liked when Wick confronts Hap outside the hospital and is like, "You were sleeping with my girlfriend!" Because that's so odd. Like, duh, we know that, and it was such like a little like, you know, thing. But I just like burst out laughing when he did that. I just thought it was like, finally, someone's like calling this like on the nose with the awkward like dad-son situation. And it's Wick to his dad. I don't know. I just liked it. Good comedic timing unintentionally. And then again with the parallel between like Carla and Hap going through the USGS report and Annie and her team going through it. I liked that kind of directing with that situation. As far as my jeers, the only thing I really have is Cody's attitude is all I wrote in my notes, which isn't really a small moment because it's something that's like been annoying for a while, but she just, boo. Cody, come on. Turn that frown upside down. So those are mine. I'll pass it on to you guys.
Well, my cheer would have to be Carla. Woo! Carla looking so good in jail.
Right?
How she was still in her dress. I was like, yes, because usually I thought they just put the little orange thing on you like as soon as you get there. But she just came in there and was like, I still look great.
Yeah,
like,
of course she did.
I'm giving you jail high fashion. Like, I'm just here for it. And then my gears would have to be, Cody, like, just taking things to a whole other level. She's just very dramatic for me. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just like her thing in her relationship, but she's a little dramatic for me. She needs to just tone it down, work it out, see how it goes.
Yeah. My cheer is the moment where Hap and he's talking on the phone to the lawyer and he's trying to figure out how to get Carla out of jail, and she shows up because I liked that they showed like, okay, you don't control every single thing and people do. I like that her and Annie were kind of like working together, or now they're working together because she's like, you do this for me, I do this for you. My jeer is that they made it so so now we know that Hap for sure knows that the rig fire is Wick's fault, and it was like, oh, it was Wick. Oh gosh. Right, it was just made so light of it. I'm like, you held a gun at your dad and almost left him there for dead. But it's like, oh, well, let's brush that off because we got this land coming up. I don't know. It was just like, so that's a bit easy. And major jeer on the Billy LeFever shout out last episode. I still cannot get over it when he's like,
residual jeer. Yes. Well, I think we're all very happy to see Gary breathe his last breath. Finally. Gary. His like 15th last breath. I swear. He's almost died like 100 times. So,
9 lives.
Yeah, no, I hear you with that one. I'm happy to see him go too. So now that leaves us with some predictions.
Yeah. AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Gosh,
so many.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have too many really concrete ones. So in the teaser for next week, we see Hap pull a gun on Wick. We see Jules talking about a paternity test, and then Cody's like, "I'm leaving you." So I'm going to go with, I agree that I think it's Hap's baby. I think it's going to be Hap's baby. I think that Team Annie is going to get the rights to the land in some way. I don't think that the chief is going to give it to them like completely. I think they're going to be like, we're going to be partners with you in some way so that they still make a pretty penny off that. And I don't really think Cody's going to leave.
No.
Me
either. No, they're going to work it out.
Yeah.
There we go. That's mine.
I predict the same thing. I predict that that's Hap's baby, definitely. I also see AJ with his child. I feel like we're finally going to be able to see the child and the wife or the ex-wife. And I also believe that Lacey will still forgive Wick. Something about her. I don't think they're going to lose their sibling love.
I think so too, for sure.
I see that, yeah.
I just have one, I guess, big prediction. I think that the Mrs. White Cloud is going to, I think she's, I see her going the Annie route, but I also see it just being like, okay, this is ours. We're gonna take it because it's the way.
Thanks for the info.
It's almost the only way to like really get Hap at his own game, which is what the whole season has been about. But also like teach those other people a lesson. Yeah. Because I mean, obviously they've learned a lot of lessons so far, but it's like don't get so wrapped up in this to where you're getting in cahoots with these people because look at what can happen when when you do. So it's like a grand old lesson that Elaine's going to teach them all.
Of the story is
you get Hap,
don't get greedy.
Don't do that either. So
and I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Oh, very
who knows?
It's going to be great.
Well, I think that just about does it for this week's episode of Blood and Oil. And you guys, be sure to tune in next week because it's the finale of the season. And based on what we just said and all those predictions and the teaser, it looks like it's going to be a pretty intense one.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, I am Lauren Salaun. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Lauren Salaun. That's LaurenSalaun. And guys, tell them who you are again and where they can find you online.
Yes, it's Howard the Third. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Howard the Third. That's Howard3RD. And of course, my website, howardthethird.com.
Y'all can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, everywhere at April Whisenhant.
Awesome. Yay. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Tune in next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.